All right, Shalom Akim. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakwadash. Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And there's no God beside them. I want to give double honors to the elders, apostles, and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit. And salutations to the elect, whom the Most High have given ears to hear. And I want to get into this article I came across. I actually found it on the Natural News. And, I just wanted to cross-reference this article on the Google and see who else is talking about this breaking news. Now it says the traditional American dream now costs a whopping $3.4 million to achieve. In other words, the American dream costs far more than most people will earn over their lifetime. All right. In other words, the American dream has a price tag most people can no longer afford. All right. It's spelled out in different ways. All right. But the equivalent is failure. If you decide to stay here. And, we being awoken to the truth, all right, the prophets of the Lord, being awoken to the true prophets, that is, know that this is not our rest. We are sent here for slavery. That's it. We're not sent here to prosper. We're not sent here to flourish. We're not sent here to make it. All right. And if for you to believe in a dream, like the beloved brother in the camp said, the beloved brother Shar, for you to believe in an American dream, you must be asleep. Right? However, we got articles like this, which the Spirit allows us to find, those that are meant to wake up, that is, as a somewhat of an alarm, I'd say, to tell us or to remind us that this is not our rest. Yeah, the Lord blesses us with jobs. Yeah, you might have particular, goals that you want to reach, bills that you want to pay off. But to get rich in this place, it ain't happening. All right. Now, if you are rich in this place, the scriptures say, it is hardly for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. There's another one. I just lost my train of thought there. Was that Psalm 73? There is the wicked, they prosper. Let me see if I can find that one. This is Psalm 73. I think it's in 10. No, 12. Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. And you have some among our people of the so-called pastors of the flock, so-called Israelite teachers that are rich, but they are also the ungodly. As I just quoted the scriptures, hardly for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. We are here for slavery. We're here to serve slavery. As a matter of fact, the curses promise us that we ain't going to do well in this place, especially if you're a man of the Lord. All right, especially if you're a man of the Lord, you'll have just enough, all right, to where you're not comfortable and you want to get out of here. But as spoken, let me read this, Deuteronomy 28 and 33. Now you see I got on the right the KJV and on the left the NLT. And I had to do this because sometimes the other versions do go off, so we got to qualify them through the KJV. Nevertheless, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 33. A foreign nation you have never heard about Well, let me start at 15 and I'll jump down. So it says, curses for disobedience. But if you refuse to listen to Yahweh your power and do not obey all the commandments and decrees I am giving you today, all these curses will come and overwhelm you. Right? Jumping down to verse 33. A foreign nation you have never heard about will eat your crops. Your work will eat the crops you worked so hard to grow. Now, in the ancient times, and not so ancient times, when I say ancient times, I mean BC era, but even like say in the early 1900s, you worked as sharecroppers, well, I could say, this scripture, that's a good example, when Jake was sharecropping, but they were always indebted to the slave, to their so-called former slave master. The way they always had to work, they tilled the land, they rented the tools, they even rented maybe a portion of the land or rented the house that they stayed in. And it was always in debt so that they could never essentially get out of slavery. Because at the time of sharecropping, it was supposed to be at the end, or the abolition or the abolishing of slavery. But as I'll read it again. A foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops you worked so hard to grow. Right? That foreign nation is a so-called white man. They was in the beginning, they were the conquistadors, which came down on the so-called natives and Hispanics. And then they, came from Europe. After they finished pillaging the northern tribes, they came to pillage the southern tribes. All right. So much so that, even today, people, you should know about slavery of the so-called blacks. All right. So it's from the slavery of the so-called Hispanics, the slavery of the so-called blacks, to, as I mentioned before, up until the late 1800s, the abolition of slavery. Then that gave you sharecropping, but even going forward until 2023, we're still under those same, we're still under the same devil, we're under the same harsh rules, to where you get just enough to pay your rent, buy some food, pay your car note, and now you got to go back, and work to keep your so-called life up to par. Right? But these are the curses. It says, a foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops you worked so hard to grow. You will suffer under constant oppression. And when we go into the history, we got to mention the so-called natives. A lot of people only talk about the African slave trade, but what about the Hispanic slave trade? That was very, very heinous. You could read different accounts. One being the destruction of the Indies. All right. Bartholomew de las Casas goes into it. How the Spaniards they tore down the different tribes, had them working on mining gold over here, and the different precious resources to make them fat. Meanwhile, those natives were always in a state of destitution. Hey, not to be so long with it, but as I speak, I think of, you got you got the Venezuelans, you got the Dominicans, You got the Jamaicans. You got our people living on this luscious, beautiful land, yet they in poverty. There's poverty. There's ghettos. You know, why is that? Because the curses, as we're reading, it says, a foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops you worked so hard to grow. All right. Venezuela is beautiful, beautiful land, rich in minerals and resources and oil. Hispaniola, otherwise known as Dominican Republic, same thing. Yet we don't see none of that. We suffer, it says, under constant oppression and harsh treatment. And then jumping down to verse 45, if you refuse to listen to the Lord your God and obey the commandments and decrees he has given you, all these curses will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed. Right? And not just in the past, but again, as I mentioned before, all the way up until now. What's the word pursue, meaning radap? I guess that's how you say it. It says to pursue, to persecute, to run after. Right? All the way up until 2023, to where the American dream costs far more than most people will earn over their lifetime. But this is me saying it, awoken to the truth that this is not our rest. But then you have some people, that will work 120, 100 hours a paycheck. You got some people, which, like I said, it's a balance. Brothers may have to work some OT to pay some bills, but it's not to where we trying to get rich in this place. You got certain northern. I seen another article where you had certain Hispanics to this very day, from their countries, they coming over here in droves and by the thousands. I seen one article, it said with 12,000 in one day, and another one said like 5,000 in one day. All right, chasing that dream because they're asleep. All right, and then when we finish off these curses, the last verse tells us in verse 68 of Deuteronomy 28, that Yahweh will send you back to Egypt in ships to a destination I promised you would never see again. There you will offer to sell yourselves to your enemies as slaves, but no one will buy you. In the KJV it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. All right. And the Egypt would have to be talking about not actual Egypt, because we didn't go there. We didn't go there in ships from Jerusalem. Egypt is a walk away, But this is talking about another Egypt. All right. America. All right. The place where we will serve hard bondage. This place is known in the scriptures as Babylon, also as a spiritual Egypt. Going into being slaves to this place, being slaves, to the dollar. What do you have on this dollar? You have a pyramid, right? Representing, and then apostles always go into it on when you check on a dollar, has different demonic symbols. One being like a web. All right. So it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, or meaning no man shall save you. All right. We were put in slavery, but no man shall rescue us. All right. That's Yahweh Shai's job. All right. So let's get into that article a little bit. So it says, the traditional American dream, marked by milestones such as owning a home, marrying, raising children, and retiring comfortably. now cost a whopping $3.4 million to fulfill. The analysis done by Investopia, the first ever calculated cost of the American dream was based on the assumed U.S. median income of $74,580. It found that many of the American dream aspects had reached historic highs due to soaring inflation. In turn, this has triggered an alarming situation where the cost of basic needs like health insurance, home ownership, vehicle ownership, education, and raising a family has escalated beyond the means of the average household. For instance, an average home buyer is expected to shell out $796,998 as a 10% down payment with a 30-year fixed loan. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, I can see what the average, over the life, so like over the 30 years, you might pay that much, but as a 10% down payment, I don't know what the fuck. That's wild. Nevertheless, it says, with a 30-year fixed loan at 7.2% interest rate to afford a home, the cost of a car ownership has also surged to an estimate $271,000 over a lifetime. Now I'm guessing, that's with car note, car insurance, and things of that nature, gas. The rising cost of healthcare also burdens households, reaching a staggering $934,000 based on a $23,000 average annual premium for family coverage over 39 years. Investopia also cited, okay, that's another article and a link, but reading on, Investopia also cited a separate analysis by the wedding planning website, The Knot, which focused on the cost of marriage and building a family of 4. A typical wedding ceremony now costs $35,800, and that's just the start. The financial burden also escalates as the marriage couple starts a family. The out-of-pocket cost for a hospital birth averages $5,708 for 2 children, and raising them costs $576,898. Reminds me of the curse, curse without be without cometh in. Whereas having a child is a blessing naturally, but in this place it's actually a curse, because it costs. It costs for the child to be born. It costs to bury that child. You gotta have health care. You gotta, it's very expensive. It's a burden on you at this point in time. It says, and raising them costs $576,000, excluding the expenses associated with college tuition. With education costs on the rise, sending 2 kids to an in-state 4-year college will add an average $42,000 coverage as well as room and board. Now, mind you, this is me reading it, not under the realm of the American dream. So you can just imagine someone under that spell. And this is why even the scriptures say, that the people are going to go mad. The people are mad at this point. And it's only going to get worse as they see that their dream is really a nightmare. That what you work so hard for, you got people that dream about coming here. And when they come here, they have a plan to work 20, 30 years, retire and go live comfortably for the rest of their life. You can't, that's a fallacy. It's always been one, but now more so than ever. Now you got to work and work and work, and it's being pushed back. I seen an article, this is years back, in Nicaragua, where I believe the pension was cut or something like that. The government basically stole their money and they went crazy. And when you woken up from that dream, you know how it is, somebody wake you up, you get a call, you be mad as hell, man. But as Israelites, as so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, you must know that this place is not your rest. All right, this dream is not a dream for you. but for your oppressor. All right? You were only sent here to make his dream a reality. Even owning a pet contributes to the financial strain on households. Caring for a dog and cat over 15 years can set a typical U.S. household back a substantial $67,935. Because you got to think about food, you know what I'm saying, the healthcare. That is very expensive to maintain an animal. Retirement, a crucial element of the American dream, demands an estimated $715,968 for a comfortable post-work life, living off 80% of pre-retirement income. And you know that's going to go up because with inflation, and what's the other word I was thinking about? Salakia. Oh, yeah, when inflation and interest rates and interest going up, that's going to go up. Inflation leaves 61% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. The jaw-dropping costs of achieving the American dream have caused many to reconsider their life goals and financial priorities. Many Americans are now struggling to bridge the gap between aspirations and financial reality, as attested by a July study conducted by the financial services company Lending Club. According to the study, 61% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. This marks a 2% increase in the number of people barely making ends meet. The Lending Tree study also noted that the cost of dining out, attending live events, and purchasing essential items such as toys, clothes, and prescription drugs adds to the financial strain on American households. Dishes with beef and veal to the ingredients increased by 11%. Enjoying a beer at a bar or restaurant saw a 4% spike, while clothing and footwear prices surged more than 2.4%. Children's clothing also experienced a substantial 5.4% increase. Healthcare costs have witnessed a notable uptick, with pharmaceutical costs increasing by 3.4%. All right, it's only 3 more paragraphs, so bear with me. Prescription drugs by 2.8%, dental costs by 5.3%, gasoline increased by 60% since the beginning of the year, given that the government declared that there has been a 17% increase in inflation since January 2021 compared to 13.6% rise in the average hourly rate for workers. Consumers continue to feel the impact of inflation while impeding the American dream. While everyone's idea of the so-called American dream is unique, the rising cost of everything a family might reasonably want and need to afford continues to put that dream further out of reach for most households. Right? I'm gonna check that out. Collapse.news. That's something sound like we need to this is another site we might need to get into. Because this place, is made to be destroyed. And again, you people need to wake up. And that's why we always say shalom to the elect, whom the Most High have given ears to hear. Because people, their anecdote to, reading that article would be to, do this, do that, set your affairs, do this, start investing in this particular venture, open up this business. But the Lord is about to destroy this place. All right. Again, we're not telling people to, just go live on the rock somewhere. You still got to do what you got to do. Nevertheless, as I like to say, hold on loosely. Right? As is written, godliness with contentment is great gain. Right? What's going to hold us down is the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right? And the scriptures say it's an easy thing in the sight of the Lord to make a poor man rich. which I personally believe, just me speaking as a man, the Lord may have a brother come into a substantial amount of money, well, what might seem like a substantial amount of money, to distribute it, to hold us down, right? Because the Most High always got his, he always held his down. But this is Sirach 34:1. The hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth a shadow and followeth after the wind. The vision of dreams is a resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face. Jumping down to verse 7. Verse 6, if they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them. For dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. Right? And you're going to, following this place is going to fail you. All right? You think you're going to finally catch up when they offer that MOTB, but then you're going to wake up to a nuclear missile. So this place is not your rest. Again, Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Hey, that movie, Leave the World Behind, these devils was telling you something, man. Hell, you're going to wake up one day and all your money is going to be going out the bank. Really, all these cyber attacks going on now. So it's very smart to begin to let this place go. So with that, shalom to the elect.